Working with dates and times in Excel. This video I'll just go over the basics for dates and times. The first thing is serial numbers. A date is really just a number. Now that might seem kind of strange. So a date's really just a number, and the time is really just a decimal. So let's prove this. What if I come into this cell and I type in 0.75, enter, and all of a sudden we see 1800 hours. Well, what could that possibly mean? Up here we see 6 p.m. Let's right click on this, format cells. We notice that this cell was formatted as a time. If I change it back to a number, here we see 0.75. So this is just a number when you type it in, but depending on the formatting that we choose, we can display this as a time. Select time. Here we have 6 p.m. We could select this to get 24-hour time, 1800 hours, the same as 6 p.m. And I said that a date is really just an integer or a number. So if I hold down the control key and press the semicolon, press enter, naturally it goes to the right. If nothing here on the alignment has been changed, by default a number or a date goes to the right. So both of these go to the right. I mean, we could force it to go to the left, and then we're not really sure what it really is, but if you just take that off and there's nothing there, a time, a date, a number, all to the right. Over here you'll notice that when I type in these descriptions in text, if I don't change anything, nothing's been pressed here, they're all going to the left. Now I could highlight them, force them to the right, but if I take, or to the middle, but if I take that off, by default, they are text. They all go to the left of the cell. So what does the number mean? Once again, we've got this date. If I just say equals, I click on this one, enter. In this cell, if I right-click, format cells, is formatted as a number. So these two are the exact same thing, and I can prove that by typing equals this equals this. Does Excel recognize these two things as being the same? It gives me a true. So that means these are the exact same thing, just formatted differently. If I were to say right click, format cells, this is a number, I could go to this cell, right click, format cells, number, just to prove it, make it easier. They are the exact same thing. It's just how we format them. So the number is really just how far from January 1st, 1900. That's the first day in Excel. If I type, let's just make sure, let's type a number 1 here and press enter. It's just the number 1. If I right click, format cells, change this to a date, well, there we go. That is January 1st, 1900. That's the first day in Excel. It's a date. It's also a number, the number 1. So, how do we know if the data we have is really date values, or is it just text? When we look at this, we think, well, it's on the right-hand side, and that's a date or a number. But what if we have some data in here that's been forced to the right? So I went in here, and this one here, I typed in 14/14/2013. Now, one of those obviously has to be the month. There is no 14th month. So I forced it to the right to make it look like everything was clean. If I uncheck this at the top, it now goes to the left, and we can see that we have a problem here. So I can go into the cell and just fix it up easily by saying, okay, there is no 14th month. Let me just pick a 12. I press enter, and it automatically goes to the right. So let me just undo that. The other way to check this is by math. Let's just add, so we'll just say equals, click on this one. If I say +1 to add 1 day to the 22nd, so now it's February 23rd, I'm adding 1 day to that. Everything that is truly a number, we can do this. So let's drag it down. So the math works on all of them. Add 1 day from what's over here on the left, but this cell can't do it because this is not really a date. I could also type in, there's other ways that you can type in dates. I could say June 23rd, comma, 2013. That's fine. It now works. But watch what happens if I type in June 23rd, 2013. A problem once again because we didn't enter it properly. So I'll go into the formula bar. If you put a comma and you make sure there's a space after it, the space is right in there, press enter, it's fine. So looking over here, good and bad, here's a date. Nothing's been pressed over here, so we know it's fine. What about this one? That's fine as well. And this one is also acceptable. So they're all on the right hand side. Nothing's been changed there. We can say equals this plus 1. It works. We're adding a day to it. Drag it down, no problem. But if I had put June 23rd, 2013, enter, it jumps to the left. It's not a date. Someone could fool you by pressing the right alignment, horizontal alignment, and now it's on the right hand side, but it's not really a proper date because we can't do the math on it. So to easily fix it, you just put in the comma like that. Make sure there's a space before the year, and we could even type in the year as 2 digits. It will default to 2013, and it works. Changing the format of how a date looks. Let's just select all of this original data. Now it's all clean. It's all on the right hand side. Naturally, nothing's been changed up there. Highlight all of this. Right click, format cells. We can come in here and pick any of these. We could even go into the custom format, pick something else, click OK, and notice how these still work because the day is still there. We just changed how it looks. These cells even have time, you can see in here. So earlier, so we've already entered a date by typing, and earlier in the video I showed you about time. Let's just say equals this cell, press enter, change this, the formatting, to a number, and that decimal part is the time part. So this 0.7 means it is something like 3 a.m. in the morning. So we see all of those have decimal value. This is right at midnight. This is getting towards the end of the day. Decimal 79. Let's highlight all of these. Right click, format cells. If we want to see the date and the time, let's come down here to custom. I'll go down to the bottom, right about there. Now we're seeing, watch what's going to happen here. Click OK, and we see the date and the time. Because over here, we can see it right there. But we've formatted this cell to only show the month with 3 letters, FEB-13. And over here, we're seeing the whole thing, which is the date and the time. So one last thing is we've got these shortcuts. If you're doing data entry, you can enter today's date. Let's just do it over here. Hold down the Control key, press the semicolon, press enter. And if you want to get the current time, hold down the Control key, hold down the Shift key, and press the semicolon and press enter. So in future videos, I will get into many other things dealing with date and time, how to use formulas, different shortcuts, different things that we can do.